And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined by Raj Chapalu, and a late addition here to the show. Welcome, Sabrina Merchant.
What's up, guys? Oh man, I love postseason basketball. Couldn't help myself.
I walked in after that game, so I was watching outside on the back patio, and because I was doing all access Lakers for it with Raj and the gang there, and I walk in, and Jen. This is how I know it's postseason basketball. Jen goes, "Whoa!" Because she had the game on inside. Because I kind of bug her when I'm just talking to basically nobody while the game is going on, and yeah, like this is those. Please, Lakers. All I ask next year, don't put us through this again. Like, just like let us not like go through that again. I'm so sick of these stupid playing games. I'm done with it. I don't want to do it anymore.
The play-in has been very good to the Lakers and has been very good to the NBA because every single Lakers play-in game has gone right down to the wire. You had that LeBron 3 eyes seeing in the middle of the basket, whatever nonsense against Golden State, the overtime game against Minnesota last year, and then this one.
I would have loved to seen, because if it was Lakers Warriors in the 9-10 matchup, if the Lakers lost tonight, just a full-time video of Adam Silver watching his two biggest money grabs playing for one of them to be eliminated before the playoffs even start.
He would have hated that. This is best case scenario. If the Warriors win now, you can get the Lakers and the Warriors in the playoffs.
Yeah, you get both in now. Yeah.
I thought the Lakers would get, like I told Aaron on the show the other day, I thought that the Lakers would win the one to get the 8 seed, but then lose to play the Warriors in the 9-10 game. But we'll see what comes out of this one here for the league. As we are recording, Golden State is actually down 10-15 in Sacramento. But yeah, the Lakers win. They win their play-in game. They move on to play the Denver Nuggets. So in this one, we are going to be talking about the game. We're going to be talking about the matchup with the Denver Nuggets on the back half of this episode. I do want to say I can't quite fit it into the episode permanently, but I did. I went out and bought this shirt today. This morning. I had a good feeling about this game. Avery's Donut Money was
Anthony, you were Team Tank.
I know.
That's what I was saying.
Even as I was all Team Tank, I did acknowledge that I thought that the Lakers were going to win this game. So that is just so everybody's curious. In New Orleans, no, my assistant didn't buy that for me. That shirt was not laid out for me on my bed before the game. I picked this shirt for myself and thought that the Lakers are going to handle business. And yes, that is all, folks. And you know what? I think a pretty good place to start this one is with Anthony Davis. I think it's kind of fitting to start there because Anthony Davis played really, really poorly and then played extremely well down the stretch of the game. And all I kept thinking in the back of my head, because I am a child of the 90s, was this clip from in my opinion, the most quotable movie of all time.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
The best movie of all time.
It's very quotable.
Raj, please tell me you've seen this movie.
I have not. So I haven't seen this movie, but I've seen you call this movie Dumb and Dumber, right? That's what this is called? Okay. No, I have not seen this yet. I'll
Dumb and Dumber is just what we call the episodes that Harrison and I host on this.
I like that Raj says "yet" as if like it just came out.
Spoiler alert, Raj. No, I don't even think you can spoil that movie. There's nothing that actually happens in it. But yeah, I want to start with you, Raj, because I know Sabrina and I, like, we watch this in different ways than you do at this point. Like, you are still very, very much like live and die on all of this stuff. And like, it had to like hurt you physically to watch Anthony Davis play the way that he was early in this game.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was still kind of nursing an injury. It's clear, like with the back injury, I don't really put the offensive misses on that. I think he was just struggling. He had some shots go in and out against Valanciunas. Some of the pick and pop stuff wasn't working. to me, it was the offensive rebounds, right? Like it was clear New Orleans, it's hard to beat a team like twice in a row, especially a team like this who's won as much as they have. They're like 10 or 11 games over 500. In a normal Western Conference, this would be a legit like 4 or 5 seed in the
Totally.
West.
This would
Yeah,
be a
so
series.
right. So it'd be tough to kind of dominate them twice. But it was clear New Orleans went into this game. We're going to be super physical. They played Valanciunas more. They told him, okay, we're going to run post ups for you. We're going to kind of test that back, right? And I thought Zion also kind of accepted the physical challenge. He was hunting AD at one point, and I'm sure like for us at home, it's very easy to be like, hey, AD, just put your hands up, accept the, contact every time. But Zion attacking you consistently for like 30, 40 minutes into your chest with a guy who already has, like, I've never had real back problems, but I'm sure that doesn't help like your back when a guy who's 200 and whatever pounds Zion is hitting your chest every time. And I thought that really kind of tired him out. But yeah, LeBron was like 1 for 8 in the fourth quarter, and AD stepped up. He got a lot of offensive rebounds. The Pelicans continue to go to this Larry Nance, Zion front court to close. And the Lakers tried to feed AD. He just could not get it going. Larry Nance is really stern in the post. He was able to kind of push him off of his mark. But yeah, it's good for AD. He also hit 4 straight clutch free throws. AD, like that was the conversation around him, right? Everyone's watching. So Tyler,
I was so nervous on the second set, instead of 2.
You and Reggie Miller was suggesting that he missed the second one.
Oh my god, freaking Reggie Miller saying missed the free throw with 3 seconds left. Like who?
It's like there's like college rules and you can't advance the ball or something.
Did you see like I think it took about 2.7 seconds for Zion to like advance the ball at the end of the first half. Remember how that ended where like he got the ball and it took all of 2.5 seconds to get from baseline to baseline there. And Reggie is like, oh, plenty of time. Miss it if you want. You're good.
What sucks is these free throws don't count. So like all these stats just get thrown into
playing stats count. They're just carved in some other corner of history, right?
Yeah, I mean, they
Jonas
count
Valanciunas is the king of playing stats.
Yeah, they count to us, but in regular season stats, they don't really add up. But no, it's cool to see AD knock those down. I think that's just big for him, and it being in New Orleans as well, and the shirts you have on Anthony, like all that stuff kind of combines for a really cool moment for AD. So I thought he stepped up. I was really promoting winning this game, and now AD gets 4 days off to prepare for Denver. But I thought this is a really nice moment for him for sure.
I was really promoting winning this game.
I really was. Like,
I want to know.
I really was. Harrison and Anthony were like really creating a huge contingent of people who were kind of explaining to me why they should lose this game, and I had to
a huge contingent, Raj. Based off of Harrison and my mentions for the last 24 hours, it was not a huge contingent of people who agreed with me.
My brother called me today to tell me why I was stupid for suggesting that they should lose.
The other thing that was kind of like crossing my mind as this was happening, basically for the majority of the game, was like, man, the Lakers are up double digits, and LeBron and AD like aren't even playing very well. Like AD especially was playing poorly outright. And I do think, look, I still think the Lakers are going to be like prohibitive, like underdogs, like prohibitive, prohibitive. Yeah, prohibitive. It's like I've had one sip of wine, but I think the Lakers are still, I do not feel good at all going into that Denver series. But for the other guys, right, for the D'Angelo Russells of the world, for Austin Reeves in stretches of this game, for Rui, for the other guys to be able to keep the Lakers afloat while those guys kind of figured it out, while their main guys figured out Sabrina, I feel like that's really big going into this next series.
Yeah, I think for D'Lo especially, right? He had such a terrible series against Denver last year. I mean, he was pretty hit or miss throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Like, I think we rate him highly because of 2 excellent 8-minute stretches against Memphis.
The peaks are so high.
Yeah, the peaks are very high. But there was a lot of valleys in last year's postseason. And I thought, I mean, just for him to get that steal on that Alvarado kick out at the end of the game, what a great play for D'Angelo Russell. Like, you don't think of him making killer defensive plays. And that was so big for just the way that game was going. And then, to make the 3 and talk so much trash to the Pelicans bench on the way down. Thank goodness he did not get a technical there, because it probably would have been justified. I'm just really happy for D'Lo. Like, these moments, it's just the play-in tournament. It's not the playoffs. It's postseason, like in name only. But It matters, right? Like D'Lo is very much a vibes guy, and just to have a good feel going into this next series, I think is super important.
Yeah, I love that you point out the defensive play. That it was because he didn't play well in the second half, right? He scored 15 in the first half, 3 in the second, and I think that's what he finished with. I mean, he had
He had
21
21,
points,
so there's an
at
extra
some
3
points
somewhere.
yeah. I don't remember him, but like the but making that play in that fashion because Pelicans had all of the momentum in the world, right? And I know that the major conversation coming out of this one is going to be Zion. It should be like it should be I know people kind of whine about analysis after stuff like this being about like the whole why can't we just talk about the game? Why does it have to be Zion Williamson talk? Like what? That's a big part of the game. Zion was killing the Lakers, right? He was on his way to a 50 burger. He was getting whatever he wanted at the rim. He was making defensive plays too, right, Raj? Like we talked about this after the last game that the Lakers played in, how it's annoying that he doesn't play with any real force defensively, and in this one he did. My bad. We probably shouldn't have pointed that out.
It's his first postseason game. It's cool for him. I'm so sad he got injured.
Me too. I hope he's okay. I hope he's ready, like able to play in their next game against whoever comes out of this one between the Warriors and the Kings, which 25-18 in Sacramento's favor right now. But yeah, it should be like the conversation about after this game being about Zion Williamson, 100% correct. And, I also thought going into this one that Willie Green would lean more on Jonas Valanciunas to get any size on that front line because AD tends to struggle against bigger, bulkier European centers. And it like that aspect of this makes me nervous because the Lakers are going up against like the best big bulky European center. And so like that adjustment.
The West is just littered with them, honestly. Like one of them after the other.
You're not wrong at all. But
that's
like
so true.
does that like fourth quarter, like Raj, after the game, you're talking about like bring on Denver.
Yes.
That is that's the back end of this title here on YouTube. For those of you who are watching, is bring on the Denver Nuggets. And that fourth quarter and the way that the Lakers played, or the way that Anthony Davis played all game, when the adjustment was to play Jonas more because those guys tend to bother AD. How does that make you feel about this next matchup that the Lakers have? Honestly, like
I mean,
don't pretend.
No. I mean, so I think we also forget AD had 40 in game 1 versus Denver last year. So it's not like he can't get baskets against him. He kind of wore down as the series gone on. And I think that's more just I think he was hurt during that series as well. But no, like tonight, I thought he just missed a lot of bunnies. And the way you kind of pick on Valanciunas and any of these big centers, right? You don't go at them through the post. That's where their strength is. To me, where the Lakers kind of hurt Valanciunas and why Willie Green in not game 1 because it's not a real series, but in the first game, like in the first game, he pulled Valanciunas with 2 minutes left because the Lakers went LeBron AD pick and roll every single time. There's like, here's the ball screen, defended. AD caught it on the move, was able to kind of catch and get a nifty layup, got a hook shot to go in. Tonight, he just missed those bunnies, and like I don't really attribute that to his injury. So that doesn't really concern me. It's more, can you make Jokic move? Can you make the Denver Nuggets move on defense, right? Can you kind of punish them? Like New Orleans tonight, I thought the pressure really increased in the second half. And that's where D'Lo struggles, right? When especially Alvarado, I thought came in and changed the game. He pushed the pace. He ball pressured full court every single time. And I thought that's the reason why you have guys like you have the continuity piece, because that's where late in game, 2 minutes left, we went Austin Reeves, LeBron pick and roll. And Austin, Sabrina, you brought up the 3 that D'Lo made in the corner. That was off of Austin drive and kick. LeBron didn't even touch the ball that possession. So that's the kind of stuff, to me, AD's never going to be a guy you just give the ball to and say, here, go score at a high points per possession in the post. That's not really his offensive game. Can he punish you in the pick and roll, and can other guys hit shots? And to me, that's where it is. In fourth quarters, can LeBron hunt Jokic on switches? LeBron's foot had like one leg, I believe, last year, however he put it in the post game. Can LeBron attack Jokic off the dribble, in pick and rolls? can punish their switches? Can he go Eric Gordon? Can he put Eric Gordon in foul trouble? To me, that's what it is. It's not really the European big thing. Like, I think the Sabonis thing is interesting too, because you can have context around that where like those are second nights of back-to-backs or whatever. But no, AD gets a chance to redeem himself and get revenge, quote unquote, on. I mean, is it revenge when you're 1-1 in a series? I'm not sure, but
it's revenge when you lost last year. I think it's appropriate to call it revenge.
Yeah,
I was
and every single regular season game this year.
I was texting Pete today because of like the last like 24 hours, and because he shouted out Harrison and me in their show, right? And then I named today's episode "Take That LFR." I don't change. I don't regret anything. But like I was texting Pete, and we were going back and forth about this Denver matchup and about like the possibility of facing them and why I don't want to. And like at the end of the day, it still comes down to the Lakers' strength is physicality and size and overwhelming and suffocating teams that way. And that also happens to be Denver's strength. And so you have strength versus strength, and their strength is better than your strength. And that is basically like the foundation of why the Lakers aren't able to, they haven't won in 8 tries against the Nuggets. And like, that is at the end of the day, like there are things you could point to. And I do plan on, I texted friend of the show, Adam Modest, like he's going to come on the show here in the next few days to preview that series as well, just like we did last year. But Sabrina, like that, no matter what other possible variances that you could point to as far as like why the Lakers, or variables that is, why the Lakers could make it closer this time around than they did last time, right? Raj wants to point to how close those games were.
They were all close. They were.
Yeah, sure.
Close.
Yeah, they were the same movie over and over again. It's like Thanos, I'm sure, right? And every bad guy in every superhero movie all the time is like, man, if we had just had that one thing go right. But like you have a real bad losing record, like losing streak going. But yeah, sure. With this matchup coming up here, no matter what other variables, Denver is not as deep. Bruce Brown is not on that team. Jeff Green is not on that team. They are hoping that Peyton Watson is like ready to go for the playoffs and is ready to do like playoff type stuff here. And that I do think is worth mentioning, but I still always come down to their best 5 is so much better than almost any. No. Yeah, I think better than every other best 5 in the league. And I can't get past that. Like that's where I get hung up on every single time. That's the wall that I run into. Sabrina, I know that I don't normally ask you or come to you for optimism on this front. This is usually where I go to for Raj for those things. But like, are you running into that same brick wall as I am?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about the Bruce Brown part of it quite a bit. And then I remember, oh, yeah, there were 4 regular season games where Bruce Brown was on a part and the Lakers still lost those 4. Yep. So that doesn't give me a ton of hope. I will say the pacing of this first round series is probably one of the elements in the Lakers' favor. The conference finals are always on an every other day schedule, whereas this one is going to have multiple off days in between games. And because it's Lakers, you can bet this thing is going to be stretched out like nobody's business in the first round. So that definitely plays in LeBron's favor and Anthony Davis's favor. They are much healthier than they were at this time last year. LeBron may or may not have had a surgery. I don't know exactly what happened. I just remember him saying, if I have a surgery, it'll be over before the next time I see you guys. So you'll never know. And congrats, LeBron. I don't know if you had surgery, but you look great. Anthony Davis gets these 4 days, right, to rest from whatever was ailing him from that regular season finale. So I think, from that perspective, like there is some hope for the Lakers just because you'll be able to put your absolute best foot forward as opposed to 6 games of chasing around the Warriors, leading up to the conference finals. Like it's definitely a better lead in than what was going on last year. I do think, like Raj was saying, there is some element of continuity this year, right? It's obviously not on the same degree as what the Nuggets are working with. Like they've had the same starting 5 since the trade deadline in 2021. And yeah, Jamal Murray missed a good chunk of that. Or I'm sorry, KCP came a little bit later. But like they've had the same starting 5 for longer than the Lakers have had their starting 5 that they're working with. And that obviously looks the part on the court. But I don't know. I mean, I kind of come down to like LeBron is just a super prideful dude. And it was embarrassing the way the Lakers lost last year. Like, he had never been swept in a series before, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And
Neither is Michael.
like,
I don't think Michael has ever been swept. And like
yeah, I mean,
that kind of stuff tweaks him a little bit.
right. So I think just because of, like, it's like Roger's saying, like, I think the Nuggets are inherently better than the Lakers, but it also is very hard to beat the same team over and over and over again. Like, at a certain point, I think the dam is going to break. And whether that's when they're already down 3-0 and you end up winning 2 and losing in 6, like, I'm not sure, or if it breaks earlier. But I don't think this is going to be a sweep this year. I'm not saying that I'm picking the Lakers, but I do have a little bit more faith in their ability to find something that works. Like, the fact that, maybe you do get like Aaron Gordon in foul trouble, because I think he is, God, so important to that identity. He's the one that single-handedly turns them from the 2000 bubble Nuggets into this physical behemoth that neutralizes all of the Lakers' advantages. Maybe, Michael Porter Jr. was damn near unplayable for a lot of that series because he wasn't playing defense, and they just brought in Bruce Brown. And I don't think Christian Brown is ready to be that guy, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's one thing during the regular season. It's quite a different thing when you're relied on for 30-plus minutes in the playoffs. So, I don't know. I feel better about the Lakers this time around, but I mean, I'm not picking them. Like, I think this is where the road ends.
All right. So as Sabrina, this is why I went in this direction, because while Sabrina was talking, I was watching Raj and he's just bouncing. Like, he's just like going. Like, this is just like,
I'm so hyped. I'm so excited.
Like, he's like, Sabrina's saying nice things. Oh, So Raj, I'm gonna let you just carry that, that momentum forward here.
Yeah, I just want to add on because I think it's not about Denver
we know you want to add on.
Yeah, you thought I was gonna come up and be pessimist. That
would have been the ultimate curveball. He's like, actually, guys, we're fucked.
I think you're spot on.
No, it's not about. No, but to me, it's not about Denver getting worse. Even with the Bruce Brown thing, and he did kind of play out of his mind, even for a Bruce Brown level. I remember he hit a bunch of threes in that series and a bunch of clutch shots as well. It's about us being better. Like, and even the games this year against Denver, right? The first game we started Torian, D'Lo, and Austin against them, and I remember Austin and D'Lo were both super cold to start this season. I remember we were down like 20 in the first quarter, and Gabe Vincent and Jamal Murray had this weird shoving match back and forth. I think the other game in Denver, it was a second night of a back-to-back as well, where we really didn't put our best foot forward. And then also Rui Hachimura didn't start till game 4, right, of the series last year. I think he'll start. He's obviously going to start now. You don't have the Dennis Schroeder lineups that are smaller. I think Austin Reeves is better as well. Austin Reeves is a better player than he was a year ago. D'Lo can't be worse. There's just that can't. D'Lo can't be worse than he was a year ago. We just talked about D'Lo and the moxie and the swagger. Like, that's, to me, that shows when he's playing well, and he's going in with some momentum, right? KCP is going to run him around, and you hope that he can kind of create, some separation. But if he can't, you have 2 insurance guards on the bench in Spencer Dinwiddie and Gabe Vincent. Those are insurance guards against D'Lo's not playing well. You have 2 defensive guards to throw on Jamal Murray or whoever. And to me, that's what it is. And the biggest thing to me is LeBron and AD being healthy. Like, I know that's not an easy thing to say. And I know, Anthony, you hate it when I say those games were close. They were. And I put this out. I remember game 1 last year. We had that game. They went under every single LeBron James ball screen, and he missed like 5 threes in that fourth quarter, and we lost game 1. And then game 2 as well was close down. Game 2 was a little bit worse because we kind of came back in that game to make it close, but our fourth quarters were just terrible. There was a stat that AD had, like, I remember there was a stat going around that AD had like no shots in fourth quarters in the playoffs or something that was continuing. He's going to have to be a scorer. He should be healthier going in because he came back earlier. I think we're better this year. We have more offensive options, at least, to kind of keep up with Denver. And then, like, Anthony, you said it, I don't really watch movies, but you said it's been the same movie every single time. I think LeBron and AD have the chance to change the script. Like, they have the freaking
don't really watch movies.
Like, they have the.
I just love that he's like explaining the concept of a movie. He doesn't really watch.
like LeBron and AD can change the script, man. They've seen the script 100 times. They can be the director, or whoever works in movies. Like, they can be the director and change the script. So. I think we're in a much better position now. And Darvin Ham hopefully is better, has learned some things. They have 4 days to prepare for this Denver Nuggets squad. You talked about how they're not as deep as they were last year. Also, Aaron Gordon had 30 or something in game 4. But, like, there's some stuff that you can take into context. Aaron Gordon hit a bunch of clutch threes, I remember, from last year. I think we're better. I'm still think Denver's obviously going to be favored. And, like, I'm not saying I would pick the Lakers. It's just people saying it's going to be a sweep again. I just can't see that. And then Sabrina brought up the LeBron's prideful part. Like, this is not how GOATs go out. They just don't. Like, the GOATs of our sport, they do not go out like this. So I think this is going to be a much closer series, and we'll see who wins. But there's two ways to walk into this like den. You can, walk like scared, or you can run in 100 miles per hour. And so I'm hoping the Lakers are running in 100 miles.
It's that much worse when you run into the brick wall. But I do think, like, if the Lakers are going to have a chance in the series, because, like, here's what I don't want, right? I've caught, and rightfully, like, in terms of like just being a fan, right? When I start doing the whole, and when Harrison and I start doing the whole, like, maybe you should lose so that you avoid Denver, right? That's bad fanning. Like, I can say that for what it is. But what also is, I think, worse fanning is if you do like the participation trophy where it's like, all right, we got one off of them this time, like,
right.
no,
Yeah.
like you got to go into this one and you got to be trying to win the series. Like, that's the whole damn point. And I don't think they can, I still don't think they can win it, period. But they especially can't win it if they don't get a split in the first two games. They need to win one of those games. You need to get that confidence and show them. It's the whole thing from like 300, right? Where, the main character, I think is Leonidas, throws the spear and he gets I think Xerxes is the,
Look how Raj's face is killing me.
I know.
He knows I haven't seen that too. Like,
it was like a
You
huge
definitely
movie
talked
when
about
I was
300 before. This led into the whole Maximus discussion and LeBron's kid being named after him.
Yeah. But like at the end of the movie, right, the main character, like, he has the opportunity to like actually strike him down or whatever, but he throws this like javelin, this spear, and it goes across the guy's face and it cuts his face. And the whole point of it, right? The whole point of at least getting that glancing blow is, and Leonidas was dying. Like, that was his last act before he dies. The whole point of it was to show to everybody else that follows him, he bleeds blood, right? And like, if you get one of those first two games, you get that confidence and you do strike that blow and they do bleed. And it's like, all right, you got to get one of those two. And I don't feel great about the first one because the Lakers have played pretty bad coming off of longer breaks. Like LeBron has said that, like, he has weird rhythm coming off of that long of a break. But still, like, no matter which one it is that you walk away from and getting it, that's, those are the two that you have to split one of one. And if you don't get that, I think the series is basically over. But I want to spend a little bit more time on this game before we after we've already fully moved on to Denver. But in this one, I thought Gabe's play in this game, especially, like, I've been kind of annoyed with the whole, man, Gabe is playing good defense. Look at him go, and while he's made, I think 2 or 3 more threes than the three of us combined, right? On the season. And in this one, though, like, he made 2 threes in this one, shot both of them very confidently, even took a heat check, which I'm not gonna lie.
Gabe.
I laughed out loud at the heat check. Like, this guy has made 2 threes all season and he's firing up heat checks because he doubled it in this game. But I think Gabe is probably going to be a pretty important figure in this series. What he can do to Jamal Murray. He is bigger, like bulkier than Schroeder is. I know Schroeder competes in all of those things. And also, like, if he does shoot even decently from 3-point range, teams just react differently to him being open than they do to Dennis Schroeder being open because of their shot form. Sabrina, what do you think about, like, is this, we're looking for any excuse whatsoever to believe in Gabe Vincent? Because I think there is something, honestly, to believe in. But, like, is this, we talked about this with D'Angelo Russell. We're expanding a single play to hopefully, or 2 plays down the stretch, to hopefully launch D'Lo into having confidence in this series. Gabe, I think, has to overcome almost as much, not as much going up against the that same matchup, but an entire season of not being useful to his team. Now he's trying like hell to be useful again. I really like what we saw from Gabe in this game.
I mean, we picked up Gabe Vincent because of that ridiculous playoff run last year for Miami, right? Like he
Yeah.
was the pull-up three threat, really good defensive guard. I mean, I don't know how I stumbled on this role as Dennis Schroeder apologist, but I thought he was actually really good defensively against Jamal Murray. It was just he was tanking our offense because he couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And that's what Gabe is supposed to solve, right? He can be as disruptive at the point of attack, but then also credibly knock down a three-pointer. And yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened that much yet, but he is not going to be phased by the playoffs. I don't think. He shot 38% on threes last year with Miami. They made it all the way to the finals. He was a big part of that. Like, I mean, he wasn't Caleb Martin, but he was he was a big part of what Miami was doing. And I just think, with the Lakers, like, all of these things that didn't work last year. You have to try something different. And so I'm glad that they have that extra tool off of the bench because, I mean, I'm going to just be terribly disappointed if we go down the same way we went down in all of those regular season games. Like there has to be
Yeah.
a different approach at some point. And yeah, maybe that means going to Gabe a little bit earlier than you might expect, but like I'm all for it because the other things have not worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually they do tend to break down. And the thing that I like about Gabe, yeah, he'll take, as we saw it, he took the heat check tonight or whatever, but he doesn't hurt you in his floor because he plays defense. His floor is so much higher than even like D'Angelo Russell's, right? Where D'Lo's floor, because he doesn't play defense, is about as low as almost any legitimately really good NBA player that I've ever seen, right? I am acknowledging he's really, really good, but I'm also pointing out his floor is like 34 floors down. And with Gabe having somebody, and I do think I agree. I thought Schroeder competed and played good or played well defensively, but he hurted their offense so much that it was like playing, 4-on-5 there down the stretch. And I don't think it would necessarily be that with Gabe in the same way, because I don't think he hurts you as much offensively, and I think he plays just as well defensively. Raj, what's your expectation for Gabe in this series?
Yeah, that was the point I was gonna make because you just went through how you were kind of upset at people, pointing at Gabe and look, he's defending even though he's not scoring, right? Like, and you were pointing out that you have to be so good defensively, kind of make up for that. I mean, I feel the same way, but the opposite end, right? Like when D'Lo's not scoring, how good you have to be offensively to be a 0 on defense. And like, let's be real, this is the reason you got Gabe Vincent, not to play the Denver Nuggets, because we'll see how he plays against them.
Actually, kind of.
Although he had a really good game too. Hashtag people forget Gabe Vincent was a big part of Miami winning game 2. And you talked about the blood from that movie. Like he kind of showed some blood on the Denver Nuggets in game 2.
And then they lost 3 consecutive games.
Yes. That was other reason. He was kind of Miami's Austin Reeves. Like if you go, like I went back and rewatched all of like Gabe Vincent's fourth quarters again with Miami. He was kind of their on-ball guard that they went to in the fourth quarter when Jimmy Butler and Bam were kind of used as more decoys. But in any case, like to me, he's here to be a D'Angelo Russell insurance. And like if he our bar is so low for our guards, like it's really just Gabe Vincent that can hit open threes changes the ceiling of our team immensely. Like just a guard that hits threes and plays on the other end, right? We're looking for two-way players, especially against Denver, that is going to have threats at all points of the floor. Jamal Murray is going to play 38 minutes a game or whatever he's going to play. Like you need a guy that can stay with him, fight over screens, give back pressure. Like I love D'Lo's end of the fourth quarter tonight. Him getting put in jail by Jose Alvarado, who doesn't have a mid-range jump shot or should not be able to attack you in any a straight line drive, was a little bit concerning to me, considering who we're playing next. But that's why you get a Gabe Vincent. Dinwiddie didn't play in the second half tonight, but he's another defensive option that at least Arvinham believes is a defensive option. Cam Reddish looks like he's not going to be able to go. So those are the guys I'm sure we're going to throw on these guards. But yeah, I'm excited to see Gabe Vincent, what he can do. He has a little bit of a ramp here with 4 days off. And you talked about Taurean Prince is a guy who will shot chuck. Gabe Vincent at least gets his shot out of the flow of the offense, right? And he's not just a chucker to me. He hit one floater tonight. I think it was his first floater of the season. But those are the shots.
Doesn't count.
But those are the shots he lived off of with Miami. The game winner against
Yeah.
the Knicks in game 2, I believe, last year was like him attacking the basket, getting a runner. I forgot who was defending. Like those are the shots he gets to. He's a 3-level guard scorer that was the potential with him. I think he's been hurt too much to get to that. But yeah, I think he's going to be a big part of the next series. We need somebody to chase Jamal Murray around. And like, that's just tough if that's Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell for 38 minutes a game. Like Jamal Murray's going to get to his spot. And we'll see if Gabe Vincent can kind of change that.
All right, let's I have some super comments in here really quickly before we get everybody out of here and let everybody kind of start doing their prep for this series. That, man, it's gonna be a long few days between now and Saturday. Those are gonna be like,
are you not excited for the East play-in tomorrow?
Excruciating games. Honestly, I said this on Twitter earlier today because it's award season also. I think they need to split the awards up to West and East. The East is so bad that, like, I don't think Jason Tatum should be up for the same awards that, like, Luka and Shea.
How many
and
MVPs would Jason Tatum have if it was just an Eastern Conference award?
Yeah.
Actually, that's not
I'd be
Giannis
fine with it. I don't
exists.
care.
Sorry, yeah.
It'd be funny if it was like the Western Conference trophy was even nicer too. It was like, but like the East is like, it'd be one thing if it was somewhat even, but we're going on like 30 years. Like my entire adult life, maybe some of my childhood life too. Like the West has been so much better than the East for a really, really, really long time. And it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. And yeah, like anyway, that's a whole different detour. So let's get to the super comments, first of which means I get to play this. Justin Tyndall writes, up 18 halfway through the third, win by 4, 0 confidence for the Nuggets. Bron and AD 12 for 36 shooting, need to play lights out just to have a chance. Yeah, you can't have games like this. Like you get games like this against the Nuggets, and the Nuggets are winning by like 40. Like it's just you need your stars to shine in this playoff setting. But again, given that the Lakers would have had basically a redo after this, right? Another chance to get into the playoffs after this game. That is when you want LeBron and AD to get that type of game out of their system, right? And the fact that the Lakers were able to win despite them playing that way for as long as they did, even in the fourth quarter, LeBron basically was turned into it was a version of what we saw in the playoffs last year, where he just started chucking from deep all the time and he started matchup hunting and it took him out of the rhythm. I actually thought that the Lakers offense looked a lot better when D'Lo and Austin were more heavily involved than LeBron down the stretch. But the holding leads thing is kind of annoying at this point. Like, is there anything, Sabrina, you think that the Lakers could do? Like, they've done this thing recently where they sub out LeBron in the last like minute or 2 or 3 at the end of the third quarter. And they also tend to sub out Reeves when they do that. This time they had D'Lo, Rui, and AD out there together, which should have helped. Unfortunately, AD was playing so poorly that it didn't. Is there anything that you can think of the Lakers could maybe do differently to, if you get an 18-point lead on the Denver Nuggets, you would like to be able to hold on to it a little bit better than the Lakers have basically all season?
I mean, I would like to stagger LeBron and Austin as much as possible. I think you need one of them on the court at all times. But I mean, as far as like holding leads, I kind of just credit New Orleans. Like they played pretty well. You know, Trey Murphy is hitting shots from 40 feet out. Like they're a good team. They, attacked a lot of the Lakers' deficiencies, like with Alvarado's ball pressure, with Herb Jones's length, with the fact that Murphy spreads the floor so that it opens up those driving lanes. Like I just thought they played really well. I know like the Lakers probably could have, put their foot on the gas a little bit more there, but LeBron's got to sit at some point, right? So I think you just kind of hold your breath during those situations. And when AD is playing better, then, you can weather that storm a little bit better.
I think they need to rely on their sets more, right? Like they go so far away from running organized offense, then I think it really, really hurts them because they don't have the principles in place to freelance.
Yeah, I think when LeBron went to the bench, it was D'Lo, Rui, and AD out there. That should be enough offense to kind of get you through those. I think AD was just really struggling at the rim, and you just talked about Alvaredo's ball pressure was kind of getting to Russell. But they want to beat Denver. Those units have to at least play somewhat even, right? Like those are the units I'm sure Jokic is gonna sit. Like D'Lo, Rui, and AD need to be able to create good offense, and get through your sets. D'Lo off of pick and rolls, like they need to be able to create offense during those units. LeBron has to sit. I think he actually extended LeBron's minutes tonight. I thought LeBron was just gassed, honestly, in the fourth quarter.
He looked exhausted.
Like these games are going to be like rock fights. Like at least they should be. Like and every single game has been, right. Every game has gone down the stretch pretty much, and like you're just not going to keep. Denver's too good to like just hold an 18-point lead and cruise through games. In my opinion, this is going to be a tough. Like every single game is going to be an absolute war. There's going to be some nights to me, like Anthony said, you can't have those shooting nights. Like there's going to be games to me, LeBron's going to have to shoot 35 times. And even if he shoots like 14 for 35, like that's the option there. I just think like these are going to be games where your stars have to pull it through. So we'll see how they do against Denver.
Just a quick question. Do you think the Lakers will actually be up 18 at any point in this series?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's possible. Because they actually held like I forget which game it was. It might have been, it was one of 3 or
Game
4,
3.
I think. They held like a 15, I think, point lead at one point in that game, if not more. And, Denver just, they that's the thing about a team as disciplined and as a team that actually relies on its continuity in the way that Denver does, is that they can stay patient. They'll just chip and chisel away. And eventually that 18-point lead becomes 14, and then it becomes 10, and then it becomes, and it's also kind of the way that the league is now, right? With 3-point shooting, is a 20-point lead is basically a 12-point lead from back in the day. And then again, like I think that the Lakers have, and this has been the case all season, right? Like I had, this wasn't a written report, but I tweeted out earlier this year that I was talking to a scout who was just got done prepping for the Lakers. And he was like, yeah, they run good stuff. They have like fun weapons and they have all these things that they can do. They also just kind of wander away from it. You kind of know that if you just let them, they will go away from that stuff that is working. Not to say that stuff was actually working as much for the Lakers tonight. It was a low scoring game, 110 to 106 by Lakers standards. That's a game in the 80s. It's an interesting concept. The idea of like holding a lead, or what the Lakers can figure out to better hold, whether it's an 18-point lead or whatever lead it is. They are going to have to hold the Nuggets off at some point. I don't know how they're going to do it though. We got another one here, which means oh no, that isn't the one. Brandon Oming.
Great question.
Gabe Dinwiddie, do you think they aren't getting Vando back? Nobody I've spoken to is particularly optimistic about Vando this early in the playoffs. It's kind of a bummer, but
he'll be there for round 2. That's what it is. We'll get him in round 2.
Gonna need him against, one of Booker or Anthony Edwards, right?
Right. Yeah. He's not really needed in this series. So
but Gabe Dinwiddie, do you think the Lakers at some point in the series are going to have to make a choice between those two guys?
I mean, I don't think so. I think both of them are kind of specialists right now. So I'm sure it's going to be Gabe first, but I like what both of them bring. I think Dinwiddie at least gives you a little bit more size out there. So kind of let results be your guide. You know what I mean? Like let success be your guide on that. If Gabe or Dinwiddie are playing well on Jamal Murray, that you can kind of keep him on there. Also, you just can't have one guy like Jamal Murray's too good to just keep one guy on him for the full game. You're going to need to switch up your coverages and all that stuff on him as well. So I don't think you have to make a choice. I also think D'Lo's going to be cold. Like I think if we're all going to bet at some point, D'Lo's going to have a cold game in this Denver. Hopefully it's not all the games, but like I'm sure D'Lo's going to have a cold game during this series, and you're going to need both of those guys to play and play big minutes. So no, I don't think you have to make a decision at least this early before the series.
I hope it's just a cold game and not a cold series. Like it's not like the way he finished that one. I'm not going to say who I was texting this about, but like when D'Lo was playing really poorly in the previous game to this one, I was texting like, oh, he's trying to avoid the playoffs because it's his best chance at keeping his contract status is if the Lakers don't actually get to the playoffs. But all right, the next one that we have here is from Lil Chris Johnson. I hope Ham keeps 3 of Braun, 80, Rui, or Hayes on the court at all times against Denver. And Ham is concerning me with all these 3-guard lineups. They are going to go 3 guards at some point. My question, actually, building off of this one, Sabrina, is how much do you trust Jackson Hayes in this matchup? Do you at all trust Jackson? Because it got to the point here getting ready for this one that I had people asking me and emailing me, should the Lakers go out and get Dwight just for this, like waive Hood and get Dwight just for this series? I don't think it's reached that point.
There
but they are
are
going to
so
need
many things wrong with that statement. You do not waive your first round pick for the chance to sign a 38-year-old.
Oh, no, Wood.
I thought you said Hood, not Wood. Okay.
Well, either. Whatever.
Okay.
No.
That is a significantly more reasonable prospect then. Okay. Yeah. So, I think Jackson Hayes is fine in small doses. He doesn't have to worry about foul trouble, right? He just plays all energy as much as possible, vertical threat, runs the floor really hard. I think he's getting like a little bit better, in these defensive situations. I kind of like pairing him and LeBron in the non-Jokic minutes. I think that's probably
that's
LA's best case, right? Even though it would be nice to let Anthony Davis play against not Nikola Jokic, I just don't think we have that option. He's just going to have to suck it up for as long as Nikola's on the court. So I think if you put Braun and Hayes in the Aaron Gordon at the 5 minutes, that's a matchup that I think actually kind of works for the Lakers.
Yeah, just need some sensitivity on the Jackson Hayes minutes. You just spoke about how Denver goes with Aaron Gordon at the 5, and that's where they really space you, right? That's kind of where they really run the floor, and they run a lot of Denver probably uses its cuts and its screens and its back screens more than any other team. And I think Jackson Hayes is fine on just typical drop or where his help is. Denver kind of puts you in all these type of places where you're guarding it. Denver knows what your goal is to have Aaron Gordon shoot the ball, right? And they leverage that better than any other team in terms of having a non-shooter. And I just worry about Jackson Hayes has been really good in terms of our regular season floor raising with him. But yeah, I think this is a series though. You can play LeBron and Rui kind of at the 5 a little bit more, just in terms of there's no DeAndre Jordan. Well, DeAndre Jordan doesn't play, so there's no real backup big for them. It's just Aaron Gordon. And yeah, AD, LeBron, Rui are Jokic is gonna play is 40 minutes a game. So this is a pretty small stretch. Anyway, I think you have to be really sensitive with the Jackson Hayes minutes. I don't trust him on all these off-ball actions where Denver makes you make really quick, decisive decisions. That's where he gets in trouble and fouls and is unable to go straight up in the air. So I'd be really sensitive with it, but I mean, I'm sure he'll get his chance.
He'll get
at it.
8. I think that's what.
Yeah, 8 minutes a game. Yeah.
He had a stretch tonight where LeBron was trying to matchup hunt, and Hayes kept on do I set a screen? Do I cut? Do I float over here? Do I go over here? And it was just it looked like when you would give the controller to your little sibling. I don't know if you guys have younger siblings, but when I would play,
I am the little sibling that this would happen with.
Okay, so you would give the controller, and you would just you would never pass that person the ball when you were playing on. For me back then, it was NBA Live. It was pre 2K years, and I'm that old. But you would play NBA Live, and you would hand the controller over I give it to Andrew, and I would say just go stand over there, and his guy that he'd be controlling is just running all over the court aimlessly, and that's basically what we saw from Jackson Hayes. And it's good when he's getting rebounds and he's getting putbacks and he's playing out of his mind, but it can be kind of detrimental, as it was there when LeBron's just sit still, I'm trying to attack this guy, and poor Rome was going to lose his mind watching that tonight. We have a couple more here. No biggie here on the next. Not a difficult subject to knock down. How did the Lakers stop Murray? If we could answer this, I would hope that we'd all be making a lot more money than we currently make. Like, I would hope we'd all afford rent in LA, right? If we could actually help the Lakers stop Murray. You know what the biggest thing is here, and I know it pissed off every Lakers fan watching this, not just in the series after the Nuggets beat the Lakers as they go and they play Miami and immediately cool off, but basically anytime I watch the Nuggets play anybody but the Lakers, those stupid shots that the Nuggets make against the Lakers just stop going in. Murray was unconscious in that series against the Lakers. Down the stretch, he was taking step back threes off of the dribble, behind the back, between the leg, all of these things. And it was like barely even moving the net, if you're looking for, again, another variable here, maybe the way that you stop Murray is that, like, you hope that there's some regression with his shooting against the Lakers. Beyond that, man, he's not just a great player, but he's an incredible playoff performer. And there's just not much you can do when guys elevate their game in the way that he does every year. But do you guys have any bright ideas?
I have his like conference final stats bookmarked because like it's just insane to watch. He averaged 32 and a half points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in those 4 games. Like, I just can't imagine he's going to play. Like, this is not a good way to go into the series and think like Jamal Murray can't reach that level, because he absolutely can. That dude left Earth for 4 games. Like, some of those shots were just absolutely absurd. And I think, Sabrina, you mentioned Dennis Schroeder actually did an okay job chasing over. A lot of those shots you really can't change much. And he's another guy where he takes a lot of just tough contested twos or tough step back threes where you can't take away everything, right? Like, if you're going to take away Jokic on the roll, if you're going to take away kind of Michael Porter Jr. coming off a screen, it's just really tough to also like take away Jamal Murray at the rim. And if you send 2 at Jamal Murray, you're kind of done, because then Denver has you in their offensive rotation. But I think we have like the best chance that you have enough you have defensive guards coming off the bench that you can hope that stay in front and you just put a hand up. But no, that dude was insane last year. I still don't think he's made an all-star team, which is crazy. But
He's never helped you enough.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start with Austin on him, obviously, and see how that works. And if that doesn't, bring in Gabe Vincent off the bench and bring in Dinwiddie and maybe LeBron, like it's 2020. Throw LeBron on Jamal Murray and put AD on Jokic. But I think that's the case. Some of those shots you can't do much with and have to hope he misses. But 32 and a half a game, like that's superstar, like top 6 level guard production to go along with. He wasn't even the best player in that series. It was Jokic. I don't have Jokic stats bookmarked because they don't bother me as much. But Jamal Murray's stats, like, those are just absolutely insane numbers.
I mean, the Lakers need him to not be the second best player in the series.
Yes.
Like, if he's the second best player in the series again, the Lakers will have lost quickly.
Also, Jokic is not the best player, I suppose.
Oh no, he's definitely going to be the best player. but Raj, come on.
So I guess the pathway is Jokic is definitely the best player, but then LeBron and AD are 2 and 3 in some order.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most realistic best path that the Lakers have here. I would love to be able to say that like Anthony Davis is going to play out of his mind, but like Jokic is European. All right.
Also assumed to be 3-time MVP.
That too. We got one more here. Jason Kelly writes, if the Lakers and Nuggets played each other in a 7-game series 100 times, so you have them playing 700 games, I'm not sure the Lakers win 5 of those 700 games, or I guess 5 of those series. So 5 series of the 100 series that the Lakers would play against each other. The Lakers and Nuggets would play against each other. Don't think AD and the LBJ core can beat Jokic. I mean, it's more that, like Raj mentioned it, right? Like Aaron Gordon scored 30 in a game, and D'Angelo Russell was terrible, and like Jokic also is a very special player. I think one thing to really watch in this series, in that matchup between AD and Jokic, is AD getting back on defense, because that's a place that Jokic really feasts on AD on. That Jokic was actually kind of the person who got that secret out across the NBA, was like, hey, AD likes to contest dumb offensive rebounds. And when he does that, I'm going to get on my horse and I'm going to try to like hustle down there and get deep position on somebody else other than AD. The horse wasn't a pun, but I realized now that
it worked out well. I enjoyed that.
But yeah, I that's going to be a small little wrinkle here in that matchup. But beyond that, like Jokic he's I don't think he should win MVP this year. I think it should be Shea for getting the number 1 seed in the West. But he's right there. It wouldn't shock me nor like really disappoint me if Jokic got MVP, and that would be 3 and 4 years for him. Won the championship last year. He's a special player. And you have a near 40-year-old LeBron, and you have an Anthony Davis who does like tend to struggle against players like Jokic, and it does make it tough for that matchup there. And it's why when the Pelicans made their comeback today, it crossed the mind here and there.
Yeah, I thought I would feel that way, that it would be a low stress situation as the Pelicans were making the comeback, and that I would feel like, okay, like this is a win-win, right? Either the Lakers make it to the playoffs or they don't face the Nuggets. And yet I was just in it. Like I wanted D'Lo to hit that shot so bad. I was so upset every time they didn't score. I mean, it's really hard to root against them. I can't do the tanking thing at this point.
We're in trouble after LeBron. like we're gonna have to like stretch those tanking muscles again, and I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
All right, that I think is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As we are talking right now, 1,500 people are watching live right now, which just always blows me away. If you are watching on Twitter, head on over to youtube.com/@LakersLounge, where you can subscribe to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, please just scroll down a little bit and hit that subscribe button. Also, the like button while we're here. It's special to have Sabrina and Raj on here. The old I Love Basketball crew was an absolute delight to participate in here. Sabrina, thank you for popping on. Raj, thank you very much for sitting in here. As usual, get ready for more conversations, as the Lakers are now officially a playoff team. Raj and I do this after these playoff games. We talk this out. We vent if we have to vent. There's probably going to be a lot more venting earlier in the playoffs than there was last year. But regardless of how this all goes, we are in for this ride together. And look, I am somebody who has had a complicated relationship with this Lakers team this season, but I'm happy that they're a playoff team. I'm happy that LeBron gets a chance to make up for how last year ended and hopefully go on a bit of a run here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be stressful. And I need a lot more wine for the next 4 to 7 games. Like I'm not ready. I'm not ready at all. So until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Shapalu and Sabrina Merchant. Also follow Sabrina's stuff at The Athletic, where the WNBA draft just happened. And I was hoping somebody would snarkily break that Caitlin Clark went first overall. Like that would have been kind of fun. I didn't see that. Sabrina, do you have any thoughts on how the draft went? Who'd the Sparks get?
Sparks got Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson, which made me so excited that I literally double fist pumped when Rickea Jackson was announced as the 4th pick. I am thrilled by these selections. I think the Sparks have awesome players going forward and are going to be just bad enough this year that they're still going to be in the running to get Paige Beckers in the next draft. So I am stoked.
Sweet spot.
Yeah.
Who are the players?
Oh, sorry. Cameron Brink, National Defensive Player of the Year out of Stanford. She's a West Coast girl. She's going to fit right in. Rickea Jackson is a power forward wing type from Tennessee. Just pure bucket getter. Gonna love her.
Yes. I like it. I like what I heard from both of those things. I saw somebody joking that with Brink, she could move AD over to the power forward. And help with
Brink has a lot of Anthony Davis in her game. It's pretty
nice.
cool. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I mean, look, I know that like coming off of the tournament that there was a push for I always blank on her name.
Angel
From
Reese.
LSU, Angel Reese. There was like I saw that there was kind of like a cult push to try to see if the Sparks could maybe get her. Didn't happen.
They had 2 chances and chose not to. So I think we know how the Sparks feel.
What would your like? I know you were pumped about Jackson, right? But had they taken Reese, would you have been disappointed by the pick?
I would have been significantly less pumped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. I feel good.
This is
then.
exactly how I wanted the draft to go.
Well, again, follow Sabrina's content and coverage of women's basketball across the board at The Athletic. Raj, when he gets off of here and after the Kings and the Warriors game, I'm guessing you're doing Lakers Detailed. Is that what the plan is there?
So we'll be on post game after the Kings Warriors.
Check out Raj and Vinay. No, I don't know where that came from. Check out their content there as well. I think the plan right now also is for Raj and I to do the Coach's Den with our boy Rome to watch what is left of this Warriors Kings game as well. I'm going to head back out to my patio for that one. So until then, until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. Again, Raj and Sabrina, thank you guys a ton for hopping on. Have a great rest of your evening. Make somebody else's, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.